Everything we know, from people and ants to stars and galaxies to quarks and atoms, the entire universe, might just be a simulation running inside a supercomputer inside an even bigger universe. Ancient philosophers said that the universe is a dream that we're waiting to wake up from. In this dream world of the imagination, anything is possible. All cultural items, from the dreams of our rodent-like ancestors, to books, to television shows, are merely permutations of the reality we think we live in. Today's age of computers and video games places simulations at the center of our cultural consciousness. A select group of us perform simulations for fun and profit, and we call them games, role-playing and otherwise. We live to run simulations. Join us on the Simulationist podcast as we explore our culture of simulations.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the Simulationist podcast. This is the 121st iteration of the show, and we're recording it on the 28th of December 2014.
So welcome to iteration 11 squared.
Oh yeah, 11 squared. 11 elevens. My name is Josh Trelevan, as it always has been.
Josh Trelevan.
Yeah.
There's another 11.
Oh, another...
It keeps repeating.
A lot of 11.
11 times 11 by Josh Trelevan.
That's spooky. Did you ever hear, I have a theory about Canada and the number 11?
Oh, go for it.
Okay, well, it's not even a theory. Well, okay, it's a conspiracy theory.
Oh, I love them.
Well, it's not a conspiracy. Anyways, the loonie is an 11-sided polygon. Did you know that?
I did make sure to check on that as soon as they came out, yes.
Yes. Okay, the loonie's 11-sided polygon. The leaf on the flag has 11 points on it. 11 leafy ends, I guess. Yeah, leafy points. And the reason for that is because Canada has 11 legal distinct crowns, like 10 for each of the provinces and 1 federal crown. Apparently the
territories got split one.
Yeah, they just get the crown that's shared with the whole federal government. And one more thing. 11 is Remembrance Day, so it's a national
11/11
number. So I was noticing that Canada, the United States has kind of 13 is a little bit United Statesy because they have 13 colonies. But Canada, we have 11, and we still have 11.
Very interesting. I'm going to have to do some numerology on 11 and see how that plays in.
Yeah.
Is that why the Americans see us as so evil? Because we it just 11, keeps showing up in their subconscious, and 11 is like an evil number for them? I'll have to check this out.
I hope not, because, my name rhymes with 11. We didn't mention your name, though.
Yes.
Ryan Kirkby, with
me
as always.
It rhymes with exactly 0 numbers. And any language I've ever...
I guess it's not really. You have to force that.
Yeah. I have yet to find a language whereby my name has any numerological meaning.
I mean, 30... Yeah, no, it doesn't. Not really. Yeah.
No,
okay,
no,
cool.
No. It does have some religious basis, Kirk and all that.
Yeah, because by the church, yeah.
Other than that, no. Very, very hard to relate my name to anything. Trust me, I've spent decades trying. It doesn't work. You lucked out, Trelevan. You lucked out.
By having a name that rhymes with 11, sure.
Well, it has some easy way to work with. I mean, all you can really do with my name is change the R to an N and get Kinkby.
Well, okay, yeah. I wouldn't have thought of that, but I guess you've had a lifetime, too.
I've had a lifetime of people around me to figure that one out by one means or another. So, yeah.
So, it's just after Christmas. This is our last show for 2014,
yes,
too.
Yes. Final iteration of the year.
I wonder, should we do some reflection, or I can't really remember what happened.
We'll have to. Okay, here's a reflection. For the next 52 iterations, we should come up with a year recap. We'll see. Yeah, somewhere around 173.
Okay. Yeah, that gives us lots of time to procrastinate about it.
Well, it gives us one more year to do a year-end review, right?
Yeah, we'll do it one every second year.
Give or take, yeah.
So I'm looking forward to a good... I don't know what the year is going to bring. I mean, maybe crazy things, maybe...
Federal election for Canada.
Okay, yeah, that's...
There's a lot of people screaming ABC, anybody but the Conservatives.
True. Well, yeah, I'm probably going to get a little bit active, but I don't know how much we'll hear about it on this podcast, but I figure I might do a little bit of volunteering, but...
I might not volunteer, but I'll definitely be double-checking everybody's stances on certain issues.
Mm-hmm.
That said, I know kind of who I'm not voting for.
Okay.
But I can't tell anybody or it won't come true. Like a birthday wish.
Yeah.
Yeah, how was your Christmas holidays?
Oh, well, my Christmas holidays was pretty good. I got to spend it with my family, so, I guess sometimes I take that for a little bit for granted, but it was fine. It was, no major incidents. It was all, pretty normal. It was, like, my mom makes Christmas dinner, so that was great. That was
nice,
super nice. They have some friend of my sister. My sister made friends with a girl in her class whose family they've been over from Korea. They moved to Canada 2 years ago, so they've been, Canadians for 2 years. So there's English is still not the best, and
it's a work in progress.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool, like hanging out with some new Canadians, or relatively new, like 2 years, I guess is new.
Got to be careful. I hung out with a new Canadian once, and I wound up marrying her.
Yeah, true.
So you just be careful there.
So that was Christmas. And I watched The Interview. Do you remember we talked a little bit about that movie?
Yes.
It was good. I liked it. I laughed. I thought it was really funny. Yeah.
Nobody tried to 9/11 style the theater you were in?
Well, I just watched it at home. They released it
and
on...
North Korea didn't track you down and give you a 9/11 sort of, smackdown like they threatened they might?
They would have had to track down a lot of people, because I think a lot of people did end up watching it at home.
And thus, ultimately, their attempt to quiet something met the Streisand effect and blew up in their faces. I think more people saw it than otherwise would have.
Yeah. I mean, in some ways I feel bad about it, because I would like for those guys to be able to stand on their own and do their, But at this point, it's so tied up with everything that's going on, it's hard to just judge the film on its own merits. And
it's getting surprisingly hard to do that for any film these days, I've been told. The more you know of the industry, the harder it is to see a movie without knowing background information behind, regarding it.
Yeah, that's true. But like I was saying, as far as I'm concerned, I laughed, and I give it 12 out of 13 dwarves. So
you know what? I've had an interesting idea, because you saw this sort of thing at home. So it means you watch it like Netflix style, right?
Yes. Well, YouTube online, YouTube service, whatever it's called.
The YouTube service.
Yeah.
But
I had to pay for it.
We'll use it like Netflix as a verb. You Netflix
sure. Okay.
it, aren't they?
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm going to say this marks a very good, solid point in the change of how new videos and movies come out.
It might, yeah. People have been saying that.
Direct-to-video is not a bad term. It's just a much better and more efficient way of making its way to the audience.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of hopeful for that, because I like watching shows at home. I mean, I'm starting to get to the other end of the 18 to 35-year-old bracket. So
yeah, I hate that. That's not something I'm looking forward to myself.
So I don't know if I represent the audience that they're trying to win over. I still do, because I still am 4 years away. No, wait, 35, 2.5 years away from.
Yeah. Every once in a while you have to read. Like, no, wait a minute, I'm that close to it. This was this far away now.
So I'm still in there. So I'm still technically, king of America or whatever.
American, attempts to sway your eyes.
King Joe, I think that's one of those shorts about how the 18 to 35-year-old guy is like everybody's courting him.
I preferred King Ralph. I don't care how bad the reviews were. I preferred King Ralph to King Joe.
King Ralph.
Yes.
Also this week, as far as simulations go, I worked on a Conlang a number system, which I showed you, Ryan, before we started the podcast.
It's rather hard to show the people in the podcast.
I might I don't know if people would be interested in it. I might just put it on the... Actually, here, no. I recommend go to the... I will upload it. But also, it is a dozenal related counting system, because
it's base 12.
Yeah, it's like base 12, but it's also got all the negatives.
Duodecimal?
Duodecimal. Or duodecimal.
Duodecimal.
Or... there's another word for it. Dozenal, sometimes people call it. It goes, like the one that I did goes from -12 to +12, so it has unique digits for the negative numbers as well, so that you don't have to write a little minus in front of it.
And I remember looking at yours and noticing that not only are they different, they're different in such a way that they mirror it to some degree. Like the -5 looks a lot like the +5. You just have to know the differences between them. And I found that interesting, because I find that's always the best part of creating like an artificial alphabet or an artificial this, that, is how you put everything together and how does it flow.
Yeah. And there's definitely there's a temptation. Well, and sometimes it's good to do like very direct conversions. Like okay, this flips, and then the upside down version is a different thing than the right side up version. And I always see, well, that's good for a start, but then you have to like do a little bit of change so that if you say you were making like playing cards or dice or something with these symbols on them,
you'd have to know which side is up versus the down.
Yeah.
So that way you don't have the 6-9 conundrum.
Yeah, because that's always bothered me. Ever since I was a little kid, 6 and 9 have given me. And I used to write my B's and D's. I used to get those backwards.
Ah, yes.
And
the P's and Q's, B's and D's.
Yeah.
Although, mind you, I took a different lesson from the BD, PQ lowercase thing, wherein I conceptualized like an alphabet whereby any character rotated 90 degrees became a different one. Mm-hmm. So in this case, instead of like the BD, PQ being like mirror images, this would be like a B, and then you got like a one-sided lump versus a Q, and then you've got like like a weird gun shape sort of thing, kind of.
Oh yeah, could be. Yeah, 90 degrees. Yeah.
But in which case, I've always liked that concept of. Maybe because I watched a whole lot of like conspiracy stuff on like Hebrew, where it's like, if you read things in a certain way, and they put things in like a text-based grid, and it's like if you work at things at an angle, it's like, well, what if you were able to turn the entire like page 90 degrees, and oh hey, there's the next line sort of thing. Mm-hmm. So it'd be like this language is poetry would be that, not that it rhymes, but that once you're done, you flip it 90 degrees and you keep reading more verses, and then it makes sense every which way you've got it tilted.
It's cool. Yeah. It's like a super palindrome, or 90-degree palindrome.
I call it the hyper-palindromic alphabet.
I like hyper, because it's an extra dimension, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but
it also sounds like I think more people want to learn about this, make it happen as a thing. It's got a name like the hyper-palindromic alphabet.
Ooh, yeah.
Alphabet with power, man.
If the listeners want to find out more, they can look up Dozens Online on, there's a forum, a Dozens Online forum. You can talk.
And it is the word Dozens online, not like dozens.com. You can find online.
Right. It's all, that's part of the Dozens Online. It's a forum. And you can find out to your heart's content all about the duodecimal system and various other number bases and, various. You can even do your own drawings and upload them and see what people think.
Compete against Josh. Make him earn his victory.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, there's no victory because there's no, people don't, say this one's better than that one, but sometimes people will comment and they'll say,
things are better than others.
Well, yeah.
I mean, somebody's trying very, very, hard at doing very, very little effort.
If you've ever tried to win a message board, that's sort of what it's like.
I have won message boards with a really good burn. And that's how you win. So you're gonna have to find some way to insult people with your alphabet, your number system to make it burn.
And people write /thread or thread1 end here, and then there's 50 more posts after it.
Congratulations, you sir have won the internet. That's how you win the forums.
Yeah. So that's been my week in simulations. How about your week?
Well, I had Christmas.
And Christmas, yeah.
Yes, I had my brother Jason over. Those of you who listen frequently would understand him to be a not a co-host, but kind of a special co-host that's had enough times to be the most frequent of our co-hosts.
Yeah,
Special
I guess he's either our most frequent guest or our least frequent host.
He's somewhere in that weird nebulous zone in between. It's kind of like dwarf planet versus planet sort of thing. We have to come up with a better designation.
He could be a dwarf host.
Yes. Dwarf host Jason came on over. Now, things were a little tight for him financially, so he came up with a Christmas present for us that wound up being better than most regular gifts, in that he babysat our daughter while I took the wife out to watch a movie. And this marks about the only time in the last 2 years we've been able to go somewhere as husband and wife rather than mother and father.
Okay. Yeah, well, that's nice of him.
Yeah. He didn't pay for the tickets or anything, but he was the babysitter sort of thing, and so we got a chance to see the last Hobbit movie together.
Oh, awesome.
And you know what? We saw the first of the Hobbit movies together, I think, because my mom was in town then. And I was like, I'll watch the kid, while she sleeps. You guys go do something. But then we had to watch the second one individually. I saw it in the theater, and then later on we rented it on, our Shaw cable package.
Mm-hmm.
$4.99 for 48 hours. I watched it twice, more sort of thing. It was nice watching it, with her. I've seen it before, because seeing her reaction, like, oh, I remember this scene. This is really good. Like, what's her reaction on there? Ooh, and ah. It's like, she's like, oh, there's my elf boy. She likes Orlando Bloom as his Legolas so much. That's her term for the elf boy, because she didn't know about Legolas before when she was watching the Lord of the Rings stuff. She liked him and all that.
Mm-hmm.
I do like in the middle how the middle one, when it ended, sort of thing. I guess spoiler alert: the dragon, smoke leaves.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm gonna go burn the town, because I'm evil.
Yeah.
He goes flying away, and like the dwarf's like, we botched it. We didn't kill the dragon.
Mm-hmm.
And then it says like, at the end of the second movie and all that. And my wife had the exact same response, like, I want more. Like, show me the other one now.
Yeah. What happens?
She had it easier than I did. She had to wait 8 months to see the end. I had to wait a full year to see the end.
Mm-hmm.
But it was even better watching it with her at my side, sort of thing, because it is very much a movie you want to watch with loved ones and friends. Especially the last one, because it's just like, well, that's kind of it. Unless they start re-releasing, like, Lord of the Rings movies in the theaters, there's just not going to be another one. I guess I really don't see them doing anything of the Unfinished Tales or Similarians type stuff. That's
well, the Silmarillion, they don't have the rights for the Silmarillion at least until Christopher Tolkien passes it on to the next member of the family. And he said he's on record, although I suppose he can always change his mind, but he's on record as saying that he doesn't approve of the films. And he didn't actually own the rights to the Hobbit or the Lord of the Rings, and that's why they were able to make those movies. But he said if he had, they wouldn't have even been able to make those.
I do not hold his perspectives in the highest regard, seeing as how if he was to find a handkerchief that his father had written on, he would sell that and publish it as like a poetry or something.
Well, I hope he's okay. I guess that's fair enough. I was going to say I hope he's not listening, but it's fair criticism, and maybe he would have a response.
Like I do understand the perspective of my father, is like a very like a famous author, and people are begging for anything more that he had to offer. So if I can find more stuff posthumously, I will put it out there. On the other hand, not all of it was his Tolkien's greatest works, sort of thing that he's wound up publishing. So, like, are you diluting the quality of the author's name by publishing anything that you can find that he had to write?
Well, at this point, me personally, I'm not that concerned about Tolkien's reputation. I mean, he's solid in my books. I mean, I've enjoyed everything that I've ever read of. I mean, to various degrees, obviously. Sometimes you're like, oh, maybe he could have done that a little better. But generally, yeah, I've enjoyed everything I've got out of Tolkien. And probably, a large percentage of the enjoyment that I've received from Tolkien has been just by, discussions on the internet, which is, way more than just reading the books. It's like this huge universe of experience that goes beyond the man himself.
And my perspective is, even if you're not big on the movies themselves, you can consider them a gateway into the literary works.
Mm-hmm.
The Watchmen movie was not well received by Alan Moore. He hasn't liked any movie production of his works. Yeah. Particularly because he kind of got hosed by DC for licensing rights. They said, the rights will revert to you after 1 year of us not publishing it. They have never stopped publishing it.
Oh.
Yeah. They kind of, kind of a weird little deal on that one, sort of thing that he's very upset about. And he's not a person you kind of want upset at, because he's a monster of a man. He's just absolutely huge.
Oh yeah, you think he's going to go beat up the DC people?
I don't think he needs to. I mean, he's also like a magician, sort of thing. He does like
he's got magic.
He's got the thelemic sort of stuff going on, and he can show up
at
your
curse them.
Not only curse them, he's got size and he's got like a mountain man beard. He can just show up at the offices and stare everybody into submission.
His beard, he does have
an intimidatingly large man. He's not what you expect for. It's like, this man has written many comic books before. It's like, you're not imagining the Alan Moore.
Again, if Alan Moore is listening,
that's all a compliment, Mr. Moore. I mean, you are living your own life. And
don't come curse us with your beard.
Your horrible, scary beard magic. I've got a wonderfully fashionable goatee. Have pity on me. Take it out on the bald-faced Josh.
Oh, yeah, thanks. Hey, I didn't say anything. I mean, I don't see why
you didn't stop me from saying it.
Oh, yeah.
That's as good as an accomplishment.
I suppose I could edit it out, yeah. But
oh, okay, yeah, you do have that power. Darn it. Oh, okay. I think you're absolved too.
Well, I could edit out. We'll see if I end up doing.
Oh yes, with Alan Moore stuff, his movies have very much helped people, in the mainstream gain awareness of his works.
Yeah, that's true.
I'll admit it, I didn't actually get a chance to read the Watchmen comic series until after I had seen the movie. I heard good stuff about it, I just was never able to, oh hey, that's right, it's in the store right now, and I've got the spare cash, I will buy it. Mm-hmm. And so it's I really like that movie. I've been told that the book is even better, or the series, the anthology, I suppose, of it. And it is better. It's much better. I love what they did in there, and it's they just completely set up and redefined the 9-panel comic story. It blows your mind, man. Huh, I have had people who read the more other stuff too, after them watching the movie. There are people now that love, V for Vendetta, that are going out and finding the written work because it's a gateway, man. It's a gateway into the true stuff.
Cool.
It is the marijuana to the crack of the literary world. It'll get you hooked. So if you don't like it, at least it gets more people in that way. That's my perspective, at least.
I hope that's the case. I mean, you wonder sometimes if people don't just watch it for Orlando Bloom and then pick up the book and say, hey, Orlando Bloom's not in here. What is this crap? And then throw it away or something.
Well, that's the thing. My wife is not exactly the biggest thick novel reader sort of thing. Yeah. So she might never wind up, even reading like a forward stuff. She might listen in later years when I read The Hobbit to my daughter. Zoe, if you're listening to this from the future and I haven't read The Hobbit to you yet as a bedtime story, use this as evidence and get me on that.
Right, and so if she's 35 and has already read them all, you're still going to...
I can still read it to her for bedtime, because I am her father. That is a father's right.
Okay.
Plus, it's a good read. I mean, you're going to say no to someone reading to you a chapter of The Hobbit? Would you really say no?
As long as I can fit it into my schedule.
If we're done this right here and you got a copy of The Hobbit, you want to just sit down on the chair and I'll sit up, and read you a chapter? I'll do that, damn it.
I mean, okay. Yeah, it sounds a little weird, but it's not too bad.
It's just reading book between friends, just out loud, man.
Actually, speaking of that, did I mention to you last week? My grandma is a children's book author. She's written several children's books. I think I don't know if I've mentioned her. Her name is Constance Horne, so I'll put that name in the show notes if you want to look that up for some reason. If the listeners want to look her up,
see if it's a book you read when you were young.
It's possible. Yeah, she's a Canadian young fiction author, or youth fiction author. I mean, she's my grandma.
Wait, did she do any of that Fear Street stuff back in the day, or is that youth adult?
No, her stuff feels very National Film Board of Canada. Feels very historical.
There is very good things to be done in that style.
Yeah. Little House on the Prairie, a little bit like that. Literally, because some of the stories are set in the prairies and then way back. Not actually. Little House on the Prairies is set in the 1800s? Is that right?
Yeah. Technically, you could have an interesting crossover between Little House on the Prairie and The Rifleman. Although I have yet to see anybody online try such a crossover. I want to read that crossover fic, man. But no one is doing it because it's just too weird, even for the internet.
Right. Okay, so, yeah, my grandma's maybe 50 years after that. Anyways, that's not important. The important thing is we did a little audiobook, and I may actually also include a link in case anybody's curious, because they might be in the show notes.
Dude, it's a story to listen to. Come on.
Yeah, my mom and my family and my brothers and sisters all got together. My dad did some voices. And we used the same equipment we're recording it on now, and we did one of my grandma's stories it's an exercise, I guess it's a Christmas present for her too. Because it was for her. Yeah. So we did that. And why did I bring that up? Oh, because audio books.
Yeah.
Audiobooks? Because reading The Lord of the Rings out loud.
Yes.
No, reading The Hobbit out loud.
Any book out loud to somebody.
Yeah. So we did that.
Yes. I think maybe the best present I got was the chance to go out with my wife, and that was a very nice Christmas present. Boxing Day, we went to go see the Festival of Trees over at the Empress Hotel, and it's always nice being over at the Empress Hotel.
I've been there not this year, but I've been there during Christmas. It's very cool.
The trees are nice. Like you go into that one area where people are dining, they got an actual person playing the piano, and all of a sudden you don't feel dressed well enough for such a classy attire going on there. It's like, oh my goodness.
That is true. Yeah.
I got a chance to see some of the rooms that they normally don't have open because they had a few trees in there, and it's like, oh my goodness, I just wanted to look around and see just the wonderful history and artistic architectural stylings of the day.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed that. There's those stores they have in there. They got a few stores in the spot there, and it's like, ooh.
Like super expensive, like little sculptures?
Oh, yes. But there is one. You'll know as soon as you look at it, it's like a jewelry type thing. They got this massive blue gem sort of thing.
Oh, wow.
And my brother Jason was actually bold enough to go to the lady who was just, like watching everyone walk by because she's, like running the store. And he asked about it. And it's like a wonderful topaz. Real
like
topaz.
A real topaz?
Yeah, it's not just colored blue glass. And it's like 200 carats plus.
Okay.
It's like to get some sense of size for that. Because I always looked at it and says, and to my mind says, like, brain goes, there's just no way that's real. It's got to be like some sort of weird display thing. There's no, like, just having a gem like that sitting around. But no, it's like a 200 plus carat topaz sitting there. It's like, ooh. If there's ever like a super villain in Victoria, we know where they're headed, man. They are taking that thing.
Yeah, go to the Empress and steal the jewelry.
The 200 carat gem just on display there.
I like it. Yeah, we could make a comic.
Because it's been there for a few years. It's not something somebody just goes there and buys, right?
I guess, yeah. I don't know.
Although, I hate to say this, but I do technically prefer the synthetic gems to the natural ones. Because, one, less ripping up of the earth to get to the stuff.
Cool.
And two, it is more chemically pure. There's less imperfections in the artificial gems.
Yeah.
And okay, sometimes the gem imperfections are what make it. You see that like star ruby sort of thing with like the star on there. It's like, ooh, that looks so beautiful, and that's something that just happened by fluke.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, a cubic zirconium, it has more inner fire, as they like to call it, for the light refractive properties, than a diamond of equal size, because there's less impurities. There's no impurities in there. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, you know what? If I was a supervillain, I actually wouldn't steal it, because I prefer the chemical perfection, of the artificial synthetic gems. Dang it!
Well, I feel like, we left that era, the D&D era, where gems are like your eyes fill up with visions of gems. We left that era sometime around the Industrial Revolution, maybe even in the 20th century, because now we can. Yeah,
we're making artificial diamonds for all sorts of purposes. They don't even really look like diamonds, but boy, you want like something diamond etched. You can do that. You don't have to worry about finding a really sweet diamond and then grounding up to powder.
Mm-hmm.
They'll make it for you.
I guess our artificial diamonds are they a 21st century invention? I think
20th, end of the 20th.
Okay, so towards the end of the 20th century. Yes.
Very end of the 20th century, but yeah.
Do you remember, like, another tangent, sorry, but did you ever read about how, like, when Alexander Graham Bell, the guy who electrified the country, was that Bell?
Should have been Tesla. In the end, I believe it was Edison.
That's the guy. Edison.
Although I will note, he did not develop the alternating current. He had direct current. It was Tesla's AC that we are using now. That did it.
I remember hearing...
Thanks, Edison.
You occasionally run across the accounts and testimonies. Perhaps they're a little exaggerated, but it would be that people would come for like miles around to see like light bulbs turned on, and like that would be a huge like.
Just somebody flicking a light switch back and forth, blowing minds, man.
And speaking of the Empress, or in this case, the Parliament, not the Parliament, the legislature here in Victoria downtown.
The classy part of downtown Victoria.
it is just absolutely covered in lights. And sometimes you think, oh, that's kind of gaudy. Like you get that feeling a little bit. And sometimes you think, oh, it's very beautiful. So
how many of those need to get changed every year? Have they switched them all over to the new style yet? The nice low
the LEDs,
yeah.
Maybe. I haven't looked lately. But yeah, so this, back in 100, 200 years or 150 years ago, I guess electricity was just getting like
about 100, we'll say. Yeah, that's when things were really getting like put everywhere.
Yeah, but this was like miraculous. This was like heavenly, like just light.
It's like seeing the stars indoors.
And now we just sort of take it so for granted. And I remember like books like Neuromancer and William Gibson is very big on this. It's this era where you're absolutely flooded with neon light. You're just, downtown Tokyo or whatever.
To be fair, neon light's got a pretty nice, attractive style when done correctly. And even when it's not done, like stylishly, it's still got a nice kind of Vegas quality to it.
Well, I like it, but from our perspective, it almost feels backwards. It almost feels like
retro.
Oh yeah, and that's cool. Like that makes it kind of kitsch and interesting and
I kind of miss
hipster.
Neon T-shirts. Is that okay? Or is that like just me being like an old man now?
I miss neon. I like bright colors. I do. I really like.
The downside is that they wind up fading in the wash. So I guess maybe it's best that we kind
maybe that's what happened.
All the neon shirts got phased out because they just went dull.
It would be too bad if we have all our color photography to turn to black and white over time. Like that turned out to be the reason why old pictures are in black and white. It's like.
I think you can write up a nice little conspiracy story about that one. That's how it really is. No one wants to admit the truth.
Yeah. Although I guess the other thing, like if you watch YouTube videos from like 5 years ago or something, they're always like lower resolution.
Oh well, I mean, yeah, like you couldn't just have gigabytes to spare back then.
Yeah, and I remember I used to think like when sort of YouTube first came out and it's sort of getting better and better, I was like, wow, like I'm so happy that
780p. Who's gonna need that many lines? And that's like now I'm looking. It's like, dude, my computer can hold the 1040. Get me rid of the 780 scrub level here.
Yeah. And I think I don't think it stops. Like I think what we have now, I think is going to look really cruddy in the future. And
so long as it wind up becoming like 3D holographic stuff, because that
might happen.
Cheesy.
Well, we might have all like Google Glass or Oculus Rift or something to that of that type.
I'd be more preferential just to have like a little like Locutus Borg sort of like laser thing coming out of the side of my glasses, so I blind the occasional person. Get that intimidating Borg presence going wherever I'm looking. That's me, man.
I think all you need is a laser pointer and some Scotch tape.
Yeah. I want it a little bit more professional. I'm gonna have to get myself a soldering iron.
There you go. Yeah.
I'm gonna do this right. I'm gonna do that at all. Yeah. Maybe when I get a new pair of glasses, have fun with these old pair of here. Give me the soldering iron. Take me down to the Dollarama. There we go. My intimidating Borg glasses at home.
So sorry, I went down a
yes,
tangent.
long story short, if I was a supervillain, I might steal the 200 plus Topaz just to replace it with a synthetic one of technically superior inner fire quality, just to kind of like it's one thing to steal it as a supervillain, but it is a much classier supervillain to subtly replace it with an artificial yet superior replacement piece.
Yeah, I like it.
Because that's the kind of supervillain I imagine myself being.
I want to say the reverse Robin Hood, but it's the obverse Robin Hood, like the.
I'd be like the mind screw Robin Hood. I steal from the rich and then I replace something of technically better quality but lesser value because of how society works. It's like, take that, society. It could have been just as good, but you guys insist on authenticity.
Well, I like picturing you like getting, that painting by Salvador Dali, or is it no?
Oh, the melting clock.
The melting clock. Yeah,
totally. Yeah, I want to melt clock.
Like
clock melting
demelt
laser.
the clocks and like straighten them out or just redraw the painting and just make the clock straight again. And
no, I will put in front of it a reflective mirror type thing, angling it so anybody looking at it will see regular style clocks. It will contort the rays until it comes out looking right.
Yeah, and like that tree is kind of bare, so we'll put some leaves on it and make it nice.
Happy little leaves. Yes. I'll Bob Ross the heck out of that thing. But yes, I give the final Hobbit movie definitely 13 out of 13 dwarves. One dead
Cool.
dragon on top of a horrible person.
Oh, okay, so you were pretty satisfied with it then too?
Like I was a little afraid I'd wind up like being saddened at the end because that's the end of it. But you know what? In the end, I felt like yes, that's a nice ending because it kind of segs its way into the the Lord of the Rings movies.
Okay, did it do that? Did you feel?
From different angles, sort of thing. So it's like where it would be, but they show it from a different angle, sort of thing. As they pan in on a map.
Yeah.
And so it is a nice way of saying no, it's not over. Now you go watch those Lord of the Rings movies again.
Go back home.
Go enjoy them. I will wait until the whole set comes out as a 3-piece, maybe in a nice little, not something too expensive, but a nice little metal tin to put all the the CDs in, and then I'll snatch that up and I'll have the full 6 CD collection. Haha.
Yeah.
12, because each one will have like a making of and special features on there. So
yeah.
Huge.
It'll be a lot of discs.
I've already got 6 of them. Now all I have to do is wait for the other 6 to come out.
Okay. Cool.
But yes, I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I guess spoiler alert. It's based off of an old book, so I don't know how much of a spoiler alert you can claim. Not all the good guys survive. It doesn't have 100% hero surviving sort of thing.
Well, I don't remember, but I don't think it quite matches who dies in the book either, so there might be some differences that you might not want to spoil. But suffice it to say, people die.
And not just a bunch of nameless bad people that just kind of popped in. But you know what? The fight scenes were good enough that it's like, okay. It was not a bad shot. I will also give it a bonus 14th dwarf because I really liked
Billy Connolly?
Oh no, Billy Connolly was good. Billy Connolly, anything he does automatically tops you up, sort of thing for dwarf quality. But no, I think his was it Oakenshield's cousin? Was it Dane?
Okay.
Yeah, I think he was just an incredible, fun character.
Okay.
I guess a bit of a spoiler sort of thing. The army comes up over there, and he's at the lead of it, and on this like war boar sort of thing.
Yeah.
And he's got the stereotypical Scottish accent sort of thing. He's like, "I got a wee proposition for you. How about you all sod off?" And that was his attempt at dwarven negotiations. Why don't you all sod off? No, okay, let's have at it then. And I'm pretty sure that's not how it went in the book, but you know what? I enjoyed it. I laughed. My wife enjoyed it. She laughed. And good stuff. Wonderful. And, big. Like, this weapon looks like it's going to really hurt somebody sort of thing. So
yeah, big dwarf hammer.
Oh, yeah. And I'll say this, sort of thing, the look at the dwarven architecture, and when they're like, oh, we've got to makeshift this up quickly, it's still a quality thing, and that's what I like to see.
Okay,
like, when dwarves do stonework, it's like, we got to block this up quickly. It still winds up being like, well, hell, that would have taken me 3 years and it wouldn't have looked so good. And they got like a speaking hole through here. And that's just like so. And they're using like little bits and pieces sort of thing. That like this is their like detritus work. And I'm like, oh, well, I guess that makes sense. They're dwarves. They're doing really good stonework there, and they did it overnight. So why not? So I did enjoy those little things too that most people probably never even thought twice about. So I dug it from many perspectives. Will buy the movie. And I will do a lot of pausing in the dwarven halls just to look at their architecture. Because, oh my goodness, I love Erebor. I love the halls beneath the halls there.
Cool.
Although I was, I don't have OCD, definitively. But it really bugged me how, there's okay, we've, got the whole place to ourselves. Now let's find the Arkenstone to prove, the kingly signal's worth, Like, this is the symbol of the king. You have it, you're the king. And, it's like, let's find it. And they're just sifting around through, piles of gold. And like get a box! Just start putting it in the box. Just putting it in bags, putting it away. It's just laying all over the floor. What a mess you've got here. It was good for a messy dragon to sleep on, but you are dwarves. You should be doing better. Start stacking those coins. And it kind of bugged me how they never were. It just... You
need to make a stockpile. And bins.
Yes. Although I must admit, I think it was awfully foolish of them to start printing out so many gold coins when they clearly had no intent to do it. It would have had greater artistic value if you take the non-weight bearing wooden, columns and all that they have there. Instead of having them, be carved out of the earth, you can get rid of all the non-weight bearing ones and you replace it with big old gold pillars. No one's stealing. Don't worry, no one's going to steal your golden pillar. The thing weighs like a half a ton a piece. It's doing fine right where it is. but it looks really stylish, and you can imprint stuff on there, because gold's a nice soft metal. So, it's like, oh, congratulations, you've done some very nice work. We're going to imprint you on the column here. So you get your name on the, the Dwarven Golden column.
Yeah, that's cool.
Humans can have their nice little, walk of fame, with all the stars and all that. Dwarves get their name, printed into a golden pillar. That seems, very dwarfy, I think.
I think, well, sure, it'd be dwarfy, but, I mean, practically speaking, in the real world, what we do with gold, if we have no other use for it, is we put it in bar form.
Yeah, the bars would have been better than coins, too. Much better for trade value, I think.
Yeah, probably.
Like, if they're trading with people and they're doing these big numbers thing, nobody's going to want the coins. They're going to want bars. Big, easy, weightable bars.
Yeah, well, it depends. I mean, there are, like, little peasants who can only afford, a few coins. And, like, one gold coin is a big deal for them. But, so, if you want to deal with
did you remember how many coins? Like, you could go surfing,
Yeah, I think it's probably too much. You could find
yourself a nice shield, and do like a Legolas kind of, like a skiing, snowboarding down the slope of gold coins.
I like the thought, though, too, that like Erebor could have been sort of the capital of the world, the capital of civilization, sort of where every nation would come in to do trade.
The New York of Middle Earth.
Yeah, because, I mean, where's Fort Knox? Fort Knox is in...
It's in the middle of nowhere. They make sure it's in the middle of nowhere, so that way, you get less people like, oh, I'm just wandering around. Rob the place.
I was thinking it might be in Washington, D.C. or something like that. But
no, it's like technically in the middle of nowhere.
Okay.
Anyways, or at least forcibly in the middle of nowhere. They may have some rules about how much, like, density you can have around it for a while, so... Just because, gold reserves and all that.
But I imagine, like, if you thought that sort of Middle Earth was going to take off into this new era of prosperity... And
which technically it did, after the end of everything, and the Fourth Age comes up, sort of thing.
All the nations of the Earth are going to, like, have little embassies in, Laketown or Dale or
Did they keep the name Dale afterwards when they put everybody back there? Or did they call it, like, New Dale? Dale 2, Electric Boogaloo.
It's a good question. I don't remember from the book if they
I don't recall them doing anything else with that, but I believe the people... Well, they probably would have done something with, like Dale as well as, like the... I don't know, actually, it's, like, in the movie, Smaug really, really demolished Laketown. Like, just fire everywhere. It's like a complete write-off sort of thing, so oof.
Yeah.
That said, I mean, it's a very decent, like waypoint sort of thing for, ocean-bound, or sorry, not ocean-bound, but water-bound,
And you saw, like, the dwarves are both rich, and they throw up those earthworks.
Fortifications.
They throw those up incredibly fast, so you'd imagine that it should be possible for them basically to rebuild Laketown from scratch. They wouldn't even have to put it in the same spot. They could just move it over a few meters.
Well, that's the thing, though. You got like a dead dragon sitting in the middle of it there. It's like, do you really want to do much with that? Are people even going to really want to use the lake after that?
That lake might get kind of gross.
Because, I mean, like Gandalf is saying stuff, you got to be very careful. All the gold in Erebor is a very bad gold because it's been under like a sleeping serpent's, form for too long, and it does nasty things for greedy gold that way. So it's like...
I don't remember that from being in the book. But
I think it was mentioned,
maybe,
sort of thing that you got to be careful about gold that's being around a worm because, it's like the greed of the dragon seeps into the gold.
Yeah. Okay.
Which I think is very good from a storytelling perspective.
It's kind of interesting, yeah. It's kind of poetic.
It does make for an interesting, like you play like a D&D thing and all like, oh yeah, you kill the dragon, the hoard's yours, but no one takes it because it's dragon gold. It's a cursed gold, and it's, like, it winds up becoming, like, you might as well have gotten, like, 70 pounds of lead instead of 70 pounds of gold coins for all the good it does you.
Mm-hmm. Does it detect as magic?
No, in this case it would just be pure superstition type thing. It's just like nobody wants your dragon coins because
I see.
With dragon greed. I don't want to become greedy like a dragon.
Well, not even like the Thieves Guild, or you couldn't like fence it in the town somewhere?
No one takes it. This is, it's a taboo item, man. No one even wants to touch it. For fear of like, I got the dragon greed on me, I'll take everything, haha.
Could you take it to like a country far away that had never heard of the dragon?
Yeah, but then you have to transport it all the darn way there.
I guess, yeah. That's what portable holes are for.
You'd have to move faster than the speed of gossip and news. which is very fast indeed.
But you could also, once you get there, you could say, oh, those are all lies, and if you have enough diplomacy or bluff.
I think they do better off smelting the coins down to bars sort of thing.
Actually, yeah, that's probably an easier... Yeah, at this point, yeah, now you're talking...
But it would have been interesting to have learned sort of thing that, after the reclamation of Erebor, they couldn't do anything with the gold. The gold was seen as bad gold, and it was tainted by dragon stuff, so all they could do was, put it in their, vaults and just keep it,
Well, hang on. So does melting the gold, totally theoretical, I guess.
I don't really think there was really that much about it. It was just kind of, the dragon's greedy. You got to be careful around gold, because,
if you melted the gold, would the greed, gas out or something?
The weird thing about the gold is we're melting the coins down. It seems like all these tiny little dragon things keep hissing up out of there. Yeah. Oh, or what if it's like something like Minecraft where you got those silverfish? How they can infest in a block.
Yeah.
And then, later on, they pop out of the block, so you got a block of gold and you're winding up smelting it down. You got little tiny dragon worms come up. That's how dragons breed. No eggs for them. They breed through the gold hoard. And then you kill the one big dragon, and then all the coins disseminate out, and once the coins, get smelted out into other sort of things, because, precious metals, you got to change it around. Dragon wormlings come out everywhere. And that's how you spread the dragon race around. How does that rock your mind?
And then how do they, if you get it wet, that's how the gold, objects turn into dragons, so don't get it wet. In the Gremlins. Like
Mogwai? Now, in this case, it'd be you got to keep the gold, out of sight, out of mind sort of thing, because, it's got, the draconic spirit in there, and you smelt it out, and then draconic spirit plus fire equals little fire-breathing dragon come out, and that's where you get the next generation of dragons.
Okay.
So, the heroes kill the dragon, and then, nobody, really gives that much of a curse about gold, because, oh, no, it's dragon gold, but, it's gold! He's giving it away, he bought, just some turnip stew, and he paid for an entire gold for it, I'm not turning down this dragon gold, it's stupid, and no one believes in that. Mm-hmm. The coins go out, and then, after a little while, because, hey, gold coins, I can, I am an artisan, I can turn this into a golden necklace. All of a sudden, dragons coming out. All of a sudden, bam, little dragons everywhere, and they start growing big, as dragons are wont to do.
Uh-huh. Well, they have to eat or something, but I'm sure that they can figure out a way.
Yeah, the person that smelted the gold. They start with a finger, and then maybe they crush a kneecap so they can't run away, and then they start feasting as they grow.
Oh my, okay.
Yeah, that's kind of dark, but very, nice and evil, draconic sort of thing.
Indeed.
Okay, I'm putting a pin in that. That's a really nice idea for a campaign thing.
Yeah.
We'll call it the New Worm Generation or something.
Cool.
Yeah. But, like I said, anytime I watch the Lord of the Rings stuff, anytime I watch the Hobbit stuff, it gives me so many ideas. It's just so well done, so well visually represented. It's like, I could do this. I want to do this. And I'm looking at this, and ideas just spring out. It's a very feckin' thing. So I don't care that the younger Tolkien doesn't like it. It gives me the fun ideas. It gives me the brain, just spurting with just notions and ideas and campaign things and stories.
Well, it's true, and there are a lot of people who have done, and good ones, that have done good sort of imitations. Well, that's probably not the right word, but also...
A lot of people say that, most of the fantasy race works are derivative of Tolkien.
Mm-hmm. But, that's kind of a cool thing, because you always want more... you've got all the stories.
I would like to delve more into the dwarven mindset. Their being greedy isn't really being greedy; it's just being practical.
Sure.
It took them a lot of effort to mine this stuff out, so they're not just going to trade it away for something like that. The only thing the dwarves will really trade away is their labor. They will get more money coming in, but in turn, a dozen dwarves go out to help build a noble's castle for a year, and then they come back with all the coin and all that with them. They get the base goods. They turn into wonderful dwarven works of wonderful style, and that's the stuff they sell off at an inflated price because artisanal works.
They're capitalists basically.
Which I would love to see. Forget the dwarven clan. It's all about the banking groups of the dwarves. The banking and trade production groups. I'd like to see something like that. And you know what? Sure, you got your dwarven thanes and your kings and all that. I want to see a dwarven, a organization that isn't based on something like pseudo medieval style. Mm-hmm. I want to see something where, it is, he's the high dwarven banker. He can make gold out of ideas. And I think a very interesting way to play things differently.
Mm-hmm.
I think, at least.
Yeah, sure.
I'd have to write out a story to see how well it works.
Yeah.
Other than that, my regular shows are on Christmas hiatus. So there's no Flash, there's no Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. In the new year, the Agent Carter stuff will be up for a little while, and that'll be kind of nice to watch. But until then, I need my fix of stuff to watch. And so I've gotten into the Yogscast Moon Quest series.
Okay, yeah, the Yogscast, the modded Minecraft.
Very modded. I mean, like they've got stuff for smelting things down. They've got, they can make furniture. They've got hot air balloons.
Sweet.
They got stuff from Myst in there, as well as, like the ability to make a spaceship and go to the moon, go to Mars, go all sorts of places. And so there's all sorts of things going on in there, and I'm enjoying it. I'm looking at, from what I've seen, I really want Treecapitator now. I really want the little mod that allows me to cut trees so much quicker. Or at least much more efficiently. Like, I want to be able to cut down, like, a giant, jungle tree without having to, like, spend 2 days, like, spend one night, up in the treetops just waiting for the sun to come so I can finish chopping down the tree.
Yeah.
Like, not have to climb all the way up and mine down the tree.
Yeah, although that has its own little appeal.
There is some fun in there, and I have enjoyed it in the past, but it would be nice just to, like, chop the tree timber and get all the stuff, and then, okay, I'm going home now. It's the end of the day. It took me that long to cut down the giant tree.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be nice. That's it. I'm liking what they're doing. I'm listening to it with headphones on sometimes, and the stuff they say is making me laugh. And whenever my daughter's in the room, she'll stop what she's doing whenever I'm laughing and laugh too. She'll look up at the screen and laugh, like she understands. Ha ha ha! I get the joke too, Daddy. Ha 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 ha! And so I find this interesting how she's like trying to learn what is funny, what's not, based on when I'm laughing. So, but yes, I had a really nice weekend, and I got a chance to watch a lot of fun Minecraft stuff, and maybe upgrade my game. So I think maybe I want to try some of the Myst stuff. Like, like the reason I've never really gone to the Nether is because, like, going to hell doesn't really appeal to me too much. Mm-hmm. But making my own little world sort of thing to go, and it's like, I want things like this, this, and this, and then going there and, hopefully the water isn't poisonous and there aren't meteors coming down from the sky. It would be entertaining that way. But I enjoyed that. That's been my week in general. So I suppose we should be getting on to a main topic, though.
Shall we? Yes.
Which is what I picked up for the common theme in what I've done this week.
Okay.
In that I saw a group of dwarves do all sorts of fun stuff together. I guess it really wasn't fun. At some points it was pretty...
Fun for us watching.
Well, I guess it was pretty fun for them to, like, hunt through a bunch of coins. It's like, oh no, it's like a needle in a haystack, except that the haystack is gold. So I was kind of boss for them. And I mean, like, I got a chance to see the trio in the Moon Quest stuff, and it occurs to me.
Who is the trio, by the way, in Moon Quest? Is it Simon and Lewis and somebody else?
Simon, Lewis. Well, that's the thing is I keep seeing their names. It's like Simon says this, Lewis says this. I know them more often as Livid Coffee and Honeydew.
Yeah, Honeydew and Livid Coffee. Livid Coffee's Duncan.
In that case, yeah, Duncan Lewis and...
Duncan Simon Lewis.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Lewis, I think, is Blue Zaphos.
Zaphos sort of thing there.
Whatever.
So yeah, those are the names I see more often. That's who I associate them better as, despite the fact they're calling each other by name proper. So, but they're doing it together, and I think one of the reasons I enjoyed watching 10 episodes of them doing nothing but mining, getting lost, and dying over and over again was because they were having fun themselves doing it, and back and forth between them. And so that got me thinking, it's like, this all effectively ties in well with the D&D sort of group, like the group of four sort of thing. You don't go out in D&D and just do something solo. You always have a band of adventurers with you.
It's possible, but the sort of assumption is that you'll have
it's as much of a default as almost any other, like, rule or setting in D&D. Yeah, it's almost as fundamental as an alignment system, really. I mean, all challenge ratings are based off of a group of four party of adventurers with a decent mix of skills and talents. So I found that interesting in that it seems that the movie, it's a group of 13 plus a burglar, so to make it to 14, keeps away from the unlucky 13. Mm-hmm. Not that keeping away from number 13 seemed to have done them a heck of a lot of luck. They still had their share of hardship. But if they think 13's unlucky, whatever, get yourself a burglar.
Think how much it would have been worse without Bilbo.
Well, they wouldn't have succeeded. I don't think they would have failed well before they ever saw Erebor. But
I guess because the trolls, they wouldn't have they wouldn't have got past the trolls.
They might have. Gandalf might have been able to get there in time to help things out. They definitely wouldn't have survived the spiders without him.
Mm-hmm.
And they never would have gotten into the mountain without him. So yeah, he was very much an essential character in their party. But they're all about going as a group, and the Yogscast guys as a group sort of thing, and that's as it strikes me as this being like a fundamental thing. It's not just the story of one person; it's always multiple people and how they play off each other that really seems to define things. Mm-hmm. And like I spent some time, thinking about like, is there a story? Is there a book I can remember reading where it was just the one person? And I'm thinking, where is a story where there's just one person and like everyone else is like an NPC or an adversary? And it occurs to me like Conan is the only one that really pops into my head.
Novels often use a singular hero. It's funny because novels like Harry Potter has a singular hero, but he has friends. Are they a party though, or
are they
close
parties? I think. In which case, Hermione and Ron would definitely be members of the party, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But with Conan, it's basically like you are Conan. Everyone else is an NPC to either help you out or impede you, or is a wench, sort of thing. Like, yes, and then he had the wench at the end of the adventure. Da-da-da-da.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the only one I can think of that's very, very like a solitary thing. Like, who is Conan's companion? He's the master of thieves, but he winds up dying like 3 pages later on. Spoiler alert? I didn't tell you which story it was. No spoiler alert.
The Master of Thieves dies.
Everyone dies around Conan.
That's true. Although, like,
inevitable. He chops heads off pretty darn well.
In some ways, I suppose that's the reason why we have a Conan story. Like, this is why I always say, like, you talk about plot armor, but it's a little bit of survival armor because you tell the story about the hero who survived because they survived. I mean, you wouldn't even have a story if they had just died at the beginning. If it was
Conan and the King of Thieves, and the King of Thieves doesn't die, is it really a Conan story?
Then it's the King of Thieves story.
Yeah.
And
King of Thieves and Conan.
Survival of the fittest stories, survival of the best stories. So this is why heroes can be, like, insanely lucky, like supernaturally lucky, and we're like, okay, well, because we're telling the story about a guy who's happened to survive, like some. Unless
you're doing like
stuff.
A dark fiction type thing where like the protagonist winds up dying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, Lovecraft did a number of stuff where it's like somebody. It was a little weird when he did it because he was always like, I am writing this down for future notes in my diary. I just coming and just pulling at my very legs, and I'm still writing down in a diary what's going on.
That's true. But I mean, then the story usually ends at the point where the protagonist dies. I suppose there's sometimes a little denouement, but
for him, with Lovecraft, it may have just been he was a little ahead of his time. If he had been a little staged later, then it could have been people doing like I am recording this on my own, proper recorder and all that, and then what you're reading later on is like a transcript thereof. And I think the only thing that kept him from doing that as a common theme was just, the technology really wasn't possible at the time. And that's all that kept him from doing that instead of like, I'm writing this down in a diary right now. And there's something chewing at my feet. Oh no, the horror, why am I still writing this and not trying to leave? It would have worked better if like it'd been recording and then, in the background munching sounds, the wet and slurping with the sick crunch and the sucking of marrow was soon to follow. That would have, I think, worked out so it's like a transcript of the recording. That's the story you read. I think that would have been much better off.
Okay.
But he was just ahead of his time. But even Lovecraft sort of thing, a lot of times it wasn't just the one person. The one person makes the horrific discovery, but the rest of the party comes to see what it was, and there's the big shock reveal, and then the end of the story.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? So, I mean, Lovecraft was a kind of solitary guy, so when even he is doing it so that things are like in groups sort of thing, it's not just the one man doing it.
Yeah. Do you remember the Simpsons episode where Ralph, I can't even remember what problem was solved. Maybe you remember this. Ralph solves a problem for somebody. Like, they have this big dilemma, and Ralph comes up, like, they're like, what do? We don't know what to do. And it's like Ralph, Bart, and maybe Homer or some the dumber characters. And Ralph, like, he sits down, he thinks really hard, he thinks to himself, I know, let's ask Lisa. So they do. So they go ask Lisa. Lisa solves the problem, of course.
And then everyone cheers on
and then
Ralph
everybody's
because
cheering. And Bart's like, yeah, he doesn't get too many of these, so just give him it.
I remember that only because that was the episode where, Ralph is with Bart and he's pointing over, and that's where I saw the leprechaun. He tells me to burn things. And then, as everyone's cheering him, the leprechaun appears for him and goes, oh, you know what you have to do now, laddie? Burn them! Burn them all! And that's I don't remember the exact plot of it, but I do remember the pyromaniac leprechaun that only Ralph Wiggum can see.
So I was thinking that's kind of like when you have a party, like you have this group of adventurers, some of whom are more competent than others, especially in books, because you don't have to have a balanced party. So you might have,
technically you don't need a balanced party in D&D either. You can have the most dysfunctional party, but it's still just as valid.
That's
and
true.
That's
it could be fun, yeah. But you might have like the super smart professor who's like a world leader in his field, and so basically it's his show. But then you have like dumb Gilligan along for the ride, and for some reason he gets credit.
I will say this. They did a monitoring of all the episodes. Gilligan actually helped out more times than he ultimately hindered the group.
Oh, okay.
It was actually pretty close, though. He did help out, but only by like 3 more times than he sat.
Pretty much equal.
I don't think the numbers are statistically significant. He's as good to the group as he is a hindrance. So and we've all had that player at the table.
They should have just ate Gilligan then. I suppose he might have given them like disease or diarrhea.
Well, here's the thing with that is that they had monkeys, I believe, on that island, but monkeys are wild creatures. Gilligan is effectively a tame monkey. Anytime they need to test something out, go for Gilligan, because he's easier to work with than a monkey.
The professor did that too a couple times, didn't he?
I believe so.
Sleeping pills or whatever.
Yeah, he can make sleeping pills out of like chemicals he can find on jungle flowers, but he can't patch a hole in the side of a boat.
That's specialization for you.
And that's why I prefer the old skill tree from the 2nd edition Shadowrun, where you can default anywhere to anywhere. You can try and navigate a tank based on your piano skill knowledge. The modifier is incredibly high, but you can try it. And people have succeeded. And that's what I liked about the old Shadowrun skill web, is that its craziness allowed it to be fun. They should have put it in as like a variant rule in future editions. Just like, hey, you want to, make sure the players can always try something. Go for this. Otherwise, if the game master says no, it's not allowed in the game. It was fun though. It's like, okay, you have a plus 34 to your difficulty number, but you can try it, and then somebody winds up getting enough 6s, blowing all their karma points to re-roll and all that, and winds up getting it. So yeah, of course I know how to drive a tank. I used to play the piano.
I feel like that happened in the cartoon one. Well, probably many times. But yeah, a character uses their knowledge of piano.
Or just any sort of thing.
Yeah.
So you could kill somebody with your rifle because you once used to play football. You go football to the physical stat, and the body, and switch it over to the manual dexterity down to the sniper rifles. So it'd be 2 plus 4 plus 4 plus 2 sort of thing for it's like interestingly weird, crazy defaults, but still possible. And I always like the weirdness of that, but it works sometimes. Yay! But with I'm thinking to the Wheel of Time series though. The main character is Randall Thor, the Dragon Reborn. But he's clearly not the only person in the party sort of thing. Like their entire chapter is devoted to the other people. The other kids that left the town, the small village of Two Rivers, along with him, and those are very much important characters. They help each other out, when they get back together. But they split an awful lot, so you might not consider them as a party because they're not always together.
Yeah, sure.
But they are all trying to go for the same sort of thing. Like, let's not die, and let's not succumb to the darkness, and let's not let other people control our lives. And there you go.
I guess Game of Thrones is a little bit like that, too, in that there isn't really a main character in Game of Thrones. Like, some people say, well, I think the main character is Daenerys, because she's, or I think the main, like if you thought the main character was Robb Stark,
spoiler alert.
I won't go further on that.
Yeah, there's a joke, about Martin not being able to use Twitter because he's killed all 140 characters already.
And also, like, the parties in Game of Thrones, they sometimes, like, enemies become friends become enemies, and sometimes they split, and you can sort of, I like his style of writing because he'll join with, a bad guy or somebody you thought was, this is the bad guy, I hate him. Like, you join with him and he starts to tell his story. It's like, he's not so bad. I kind of like I'm thinking.
He's still kind of a jerk, but at least I understand his motive.
Yeah, Jaime Lannister, I think, is the one. Yeah, and or I mean, there are other examples, of course, but that's the one I think of.
They're all just a big pile of jerks. You just got to choose which jerks you prefer.
Well, and that's the other thing. Like, in Game of Thrones, are there no bad guys or are there no good guys? It's like.
Well, he doesn't have to worry about an alignment system sort of thing, so I'm pretty certain the best you could qualify them as decent, but with some tarnished soul.
Yeah. So yeah, that's another way to approach partying or like grouping, is that it's interwoven throughout the story.
The party you have is not always the party you will have. The group you're with, to get the objective done is not like who you'll always be with. And sometimes you'll want to try and put a dagger in their back.
Yeah. But are you thinking teamwork too? Like, are you thinking that's an important aspect, or are you just thinking interrelations? Like, just the fact that people happen to sort of encounter and work together for a while? Or do you have a larger point to make about the actual
that's
sort
an
of
interesting
synergy?
Thing is, I remember in the Moon Quest one, there's a big storm outside, and one of the guys opens the door to encounter like a supercharged creeper. And they're like, close the door and go away. And so what does he do? He opens the door and tries to lure the darn thing inside. Fortunately, griefing was turned off. Otherwise, the super creeper would have just nuked the entire baked bean fort they had set up. Just would have destroyed absolutely everything.
Uh-huh.
So
that's not very good teamwork.
It's antagonistic at best, and that's not the first. It's not the only creeper he's tried to lure into the base area. He's got recurring backstab syndrome.
Let me guess, that was Simon that did that.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. And so in which case, you can't very clearly claim their goals are always in alignment, because he's out for some fun too, in which case I guess he's kind of got the role of a low-key type sort of trickster. I think it would be really fun if I did this, so I will do this, and ha, boom goes the creeper.
Yeah.
It's not like he intentionally sabotages stuff though, but he is clearly at odds with them sometimes. So they're like, why did you even do that? Why did you bring the creeper in? Why did you open the door? So I want to see what would happen. Yeah. So, clearly the interpersonal dynamics do not have to always coincide. And I think for storytelling purposes, that's probably for the best. Some of the best, times in D&D were, with some the occasional backstab, the occasional pushing into a trap sort of thing. It happens. I'm evil, you're good, you've been annoying me, so I think we'll set this trap off by shove. And, so there's something to be said about making sure there's that personality grist for decent storytelling.
Yep, yeah, and goal grist, I guess. A little bit of personality, a little bit of goal grist. Gold grist? That sounds weird.
Sounds like gold wrist. But no, yes, a little bit of a conflict of outcomes. Like, I want it to be this way. Well, I want it to be this way. And we both want, the MacGuffin that we're going after. But only one person can have it. So in the end, you get there, and then it's a matter of don't put your back to the other person.
Yeah, I remember, speaking of Yogscast, I remember when it was one of the many PvP maps they played as the walls, and it's a map where
I could never dig PvP in that sort of game. It just doesn't seem.
Well, they had two-player teams, so Simon and Lewis were teamed up, and Sips and Shin, and Duncan and Hannah are another team. But at one point, one of the games, Simon and Lewis win, or they defeat the other players, and then immediately after that, Simon punches Lewis into the lava.
There can only be one.
Just because. That was pretty funny. That was kind of didn't have a point.
No, it did, because after a certain point where like you run out of antagonists, and all of a sudden you're situated in like an area where there's only protagonists. One of those protagonists is going to remain protagonist, and one of them is going to become antagonist. You can see the thing in The Lord of the Rings come the end is, like Gollum's trying to help them out, sort of thing, but not with always the best, most altruistic reasons to help out with Sam and Frodo, and in the end he winds up becoming an antagonist. I bite your finger.
That's a good point, because their paths converge for so long, and then there has to be there's some
sparks going on between Gollum and Sam, sort of thing. It's like, he's going to betray you, Mr. Frodo.
Yeah. And I wanted to bring up another, Critical Hit just ended.
Yes.
Critical Hit is the major spoilers. You can look them up. Critical Hit podcast. Sorry, there's several different Critical Hits, all of which I'm sort of a fan of. There's Critical Hit, the live D&D show in Vancouver, which I went to it when they came to Godicon. Oh, I forgot to mention Godicon.
Oh.
Maybe at the end of the podcast?
Yeah, we should start doing a countdown. This is coming up.
Yeah. What was it? Oh, yeah, Critical Hit, the podcast, the D&D actual play podcast by our friends at Major Spoilers. What happened? Oh, they had a party, and they just recently ended. I guess, I can't really give away, can I? I shouldn't give away the ending. Nah, it's a spoiler. I think if people don't want to have it spoiled.
Goal achieved, sort of thing. They're going through a gateway to another world, and the gateway won't open up once it's closed. I believe you told me.
That's what happened at the end, and then half of the party have to go through, or at least half, maybe even most.
Some want to go through, and you're saying at least one is compelled to stay behind.
One is compelled to stay behind, but for kind of a weird reason, and I guess this is like the group choosing your friends, your party, or your group, or your team versus your family, because
or kin.
He has this option of he's supposed to stay back because he's the last Eladrin in the world, and he's supposed to stay back and lead his people, or for some reason like that. But I was thinking that was kind of a weak thing. But I guess personally I don't see I
believe you mentioned this to me, though, is that he did not want to effectively retire his character, but he felt compelled, I should be doing that because I am the last of my kind.
Yeah. The character didn't want to. I don't know.
The player didn't want to.
The player, I don't know what he was thinking. That was Stephen Page. Stephen Page.
Yes, the guy from the Bare Naked Ladies actually plays a lot of D&Ds on.
Steven Schleicher is the player. His character didn't want to stay with his family, and not because we were talking about this a little bit earlier too. There's a difference between your duty to your parents and your sort of your extended family, that your clan, as opposed to your duty to people who depend on you, like your children or your wife or your spouse, if you're or your husband if you have a husband. So that's,
or Smizmar.
What's that?
Smizmar, for those who are Futurama. Ladies, gentlemen, Smizmar.
I forget that. Okay. Yep. But yeah, you have pulls in these alternate directions, and
see. But when you describe that situation to me, it's very much that this looks like a job for the DM. So if the player is feeling, I want to keep playing the character, but the character really is feeling compelled, he should probably stay behind, but I want to keep playing him. In that case, I would be, as the DM, find some way for a variant of the simulacrum spell where he can leave behind a copy of himself to help procreate the future.
Oh, that's actually kind of a good idea.
Because if the players want to go in this direction, as the dungeon master setting, you should try and help make sure they can. Don't let a log jam stop everything. Don't let it bog down to a quagmire of argument. You should go. You shouldn't go. Do this. No. Okay. You want to go. Everyone wants you to go. I'll find a way to make sure that this loose end isn't a loose end. We'll simulacrize you, and then off you go with you get to go, and then your clone self gets to go stay behind and help procreate the Eladrin race.
Yeah, there are times like these where you can be glad that this is not a visual podcast.
Oh, come on. It was just little hand gestures going on.
No, it's... no, but you might be right about that. That might be that... The other thing about that particular, like the Critical Hit podcast, is that they were... on a meta level, they were ending that series, that season, and they might not come back to the same characters, or those characters might be completely changed the next time they
in that case, you just leave the story, at him finding the scroll of
actually
true Simulacra.
Yeah, maybe they should have because there was a pretty long, not that long discussions or anything, not that those are
not
bad
that
things.
we're one to say,
but there was a pretty long discussion between them about, should I go, and I don't want to go. And well, the funny thing to me was that the character was pretty adamant. Like, there was no swaying this way or that way, or I don't know. The character definitely didn't want to stay. The character wanted to leave with his friends and not stay with his old, family and clan and everything like that. He wanted to go out. Which
is why the DM, it's the same as the trap situation in many D&D things. You can be wind up that the party is so well geared and all that, they know exactly fighting tactics and techniques. You come to one 10 by 10 pit trap in a hallway, and then the next 2 hours are spent on how to cross it.
Well, yeah, that happens sometimes. Yeah,
and it winds up being just as like, no, okay, you know what? You think there's enough of a ledge along the side. If you trip it, you might be able to do it. Just a little balance check. Go. Just go.
Well,
this is not the adventure trying to cross a pit trap. Let's just find something better.
I didn't mind this too much with this group because I feel like it was intended, at least. Maybe they failed at this, but it was intended to be a little bit dramatic. Like, it was intended to be, okay, now we're going to have this scene where the character is somehow torn. And also, the other thing was, if I didn't mention it before, the other members of the party were trying to tell him that he had to stay. They were telling him, you can't come with us. Like, and to me, like, if I was like his friend, I'd be like,
do what you want to do, go where you want to go.
Yeah, it was like, and because they were making arguments about, the Eladrin race won't continue without you, or your people need you, and I suppose, like, I don't know, they weren't in immediate danger. That's the thing. Like, I don't think they really needed him that bad. Like, and
alternative solution: decanter of virility plus one night orgy. Whatever. There's enough kids coming on. He absolves himself responsibility. Runs on through that gate, never to return. You might be a bad dad, but at least the numbers go out.
At least he did. Yeah, he did manage to keep the Eladrin race going.
And one heck of a nice way to see yourself off, sort of thing.
I feel like I wouldn't make that decision, but I don't know. To me, though, like
in the end, whatever decision you come to that allows you to take the path you want, that's the way to go.
Yeah, I was thinking, like, is this really an imperative? Like, do you? I guess this is probably whole another podcast, but is it really that necessary to perpetuate your, maybe it's your clan, maybe it's your entire species, like the human species?
Well, that's the thing, is you could wind up having, as the DM, like, he leaves behind and the race is doomed to extinction, sort of thing, but they find a way around that, and thus the next time you encounter them, they're baby stealers. What they do is, like, doing the shape, change the thing, well, they wind up, like, stealing some, like, human baby, taking it, and there's that transmute or any object spell. Mm-hmm. And if it's close enough to the other object, it stays permanent. So in this case, it'd be, you steal a human baby, and then transmute, got some sort of weird, like, rebirthing altar, I'll say it is, for, like, an artifact type thing. It's really just a magic item, stationary. Actually not that expensive proportionally.
So basically the whole changeling.
And yeah, they would change them into an Eladrin baby to be raised as a proper Eladrin. Except for the fact that because they're magical, I guess they can't procreate properly, in which case it spawns generation after generation of the Eladrin stealing babies to keep their race numbers up, because the one true Eladrin wouldn't sacrifice himself for his race. In which case, that sounds like a nice way to set up future things, and differences in campaign that you just don't see in other campaigns. These are baby-stealing elves, man. Oof.
Yeah.
Nasty.
That seems like I don't know if I approve of the DM pulling that sort of, seems like a mean trick, but...
It's a solution to a problem.
And, yeah, it's drama, so it's all good. So, I don't know.
And it beats the other, like, alternative, like you see in some campaigns, how the elves, because they're so long-lived, like, immortal, effective race, Yet they're around all these dangerous creatures. Like, even a kobold can kill an elf sort of thing if he gets lucky with a couple weapons, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you wind up with them, like, trying to come up with, like, a half-elf fighting militia. Like, let them do the dirty work. They breed so much quicker, we can expend them out as a force. I believe the Errant story that Michael Poe did for a while had that as part of its backstory. Give it a look-see. It's a 1,000-page epic, so...
Okay. I probably won't.
Start brewing some tea. It's very well done, nicely illustrated and all that. And he's got a nice style to him. Very nice style, so...
I wonder, like, so speaking of, like, group and teamwork, is there something to, like... I feel like
it's an intrinsic thing, because I we see it in a lot of different things. I don't think we're well enough to trace back to where it started, but I think it might just be an intrinsic human thing.
Oh yeah, probably. I mean, we're social animals, and we work in teams. So like you have to work.
You got some time to spare. Sometime you go to yourself like a fast food joint, sit down for a while, and watch as people come, not as a trickle, not just like one every couple of minutes. They come in droves. There'll be nobody. 5 people enter within a span of 2 minutes. Mm-hmm. And we're so ingrained as a social species that we will do that sort of thing. We'll start eating in groups, even when we're a bunch of strangers.
Okay, that sounds a little too much, but okay.
Trust me, I've seen it. It's never a trickle of people coming in on that sort of thing. It's like
but it's not like they planned it. Or
no, not consciously.
Okay.
But it'll be a sort of thing where you get nobody's in, one person's in, and all of a sudden, there's 2 people, 4 people, lined up to the door and beyond.
Kind of like the birds, like, the crows. Like one crow arrives, then a couple more crows arrive.
Something
and then
like
suddenly
that,
you're just in a sea of crows.
Next thing you know, you're working the deep fryer, and every fryer's down, and you've got fries. All the fries are counted for. Like, somebody comes in, and I remember this back when I was a young man, and it'd be like, there's like everything is counted for. Everything I'm doing is done, and like somebody comes up and is like, someone wants just a small fry. I'm like, they're gonna have to wait 10 minutes. All the fryers are accounted for the next 10 minutes worth of fries. There is no leeway in our numbers here. Take it from me. And so even if they would just want fries, because it's just so many people, because they all came at once. If they come at a trickle, of course, I can make a fry quickly as I'm doing that sort of thing. Just a little extra in the one basket. But no, all were accounted for. Everything's...
now this, I think I've seen some stuff about like this in sort of probability theory and mathematics. It's not necessarily a human phenomenon. There's obviously they are humans. Yeah. But it is more like it's just a mathematical thing of just randomness. Sort of like... I'm trying to think of another example of something that arrives sort of sporadically. Waves in the beach are pretty regular, so that's not... But humans arrive in a pattern that is sort of like that whole raindrop pattern. It's like 1, 1, 1, and then, a cluster, and then... So that's the nature of randomness, I guess. And they're...
It does cluster, yeah. I'll admit that. But... there's something to be said about people wanting to eat more. Like, of course, there's going to be a noon rush at a fast food place because people on lunch break sort of thing, and then there'll be more like a bit of a 5, 6 o'clock rush as people are hungry for supper. But even at the odd sort of times when you don't expect a rush, there will be people coming in groups, and it'll be like nobody, and then like a bunch of people, and then nobody again.
I wonder too, like sometimes what happens, and this might be like distantly, but I wonder if it's a bit of the butterfly effect, and what butterfly flaps its wings over here, and you see this in traffic sometimes because like traffic lights will stop a bunch of cars, and then there'll be a group of cars that all goes through the light, and so you get basically waves of traffic.
Pulses.
Yeah, pulses or waves, and you get the 1 or 2 like in between that came off a side road or whatever. So you have that pattern that's basically. It is regulated and pumped at some central sort of bottleneck, and then it comes through. And I do wonder...
But this would be like 4 cars sitting on top of each other with nobody else anywhere else on the road. It's very weird stuff. Humanity is so very deeply ingrained to be like a social species that they will subconsciously eat in groups sort of thing.
Well, what I'm wondering is like maybe there is some system somewhere that...
If there's a system or a pattern, somebody would have found it and made billions.
Well, hang on, no, because I'm talking about chaos theory. I'm talking about stuff that is very difficult to model. And as maybe in the future someone will be able to, but...
McDonald's would have spent the money to have figured it out, if it exists. Yeah. Trust me, these are the same people that know that a hamburger meat can be bought for 9 cents a pound, but worm meat is 90 cents a pound. These are the people that have checked the numbers on worm meat by the pound.
Well, I wonder.
They're monitoring all sorts of weird little things, crazy things.
It might be unavoidable to have these to have pulses. Like there might be something in the structure of even the parking lot, even the way the cars, even the way the spaces.
I've seen the parking
are.
lots. There's very little structure involved in many of them. Like, ugh.
No, not intentional structure, but accidental structure. Like it's just accidental that there just happens to line up in such a way that cars seem to park. I don't know. Maybe this is totally wrong, but I don't know what you're talking about either. Because you're just like, oh, it's magic. Like people magically, like they have some sort of psychic, like they send out a call and everybody
it's like,
comes
somebody
in.
looks, oh, hey, there's someone, like there's a couple people in line there. I'm kind of hungry myself. I guess yeah, this is as good a place as any to eat. And so, like the one place will have like a dozen customers in it, whereas the spot across the street has like nobody.
Oh, okay. So that's a little bit. That's something.
Like, so many on one side. It's like, yeah, I don't want to wait like 5 minutes for this.
Yeah.
I'll go across the street, and then you get like
the
outflow going over. The overflow hits.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very much like a communal species sort of thing. Like I suppose like ravens sort of like flock together. Somebody finds something good, and okay, let's all go here. And so it'll be say, oh, hey, look, there's someone eating there, and in their mind, deep subconscious sort of thing is like, somebody's eating there. It's a safe eating location. I will eat there too.
Yeah.
Whereas you have like a blank area where no customers sort of thing out there, and it'd be like, I'm not going to eat there. No one's eating there. What's wrong with that place?
But I would call that kind of behavior almost pre-social, because that's probably why we even have social interactions to begin with. Is because there is something like, way back evolution-wise, before animals are that social.
It did definitely behoove us to eat where other people were eating.
Yeah.
Less competition, less predators.
I mean, and they wouldn't be people. We'd be talking ancestors, like, probably in the reptiles category, something like that.
It can be found in almost any group of species.
It's just that, they happen to be able to see that there are others of their kind there. And then as that sort of happens and they converge, then what emerges from there is the set of social stuff like, oh, okay, now I like being around these other creatures of my kind because they make me laugh or they make me happy. Or
this is a good eating location. I shall return here very often. And all of a sudden you're called a regular and you're getting like little discounts. So you're definitely eating here more often, right?
Yeah, and then people start recognizing you. Say, I know that guy.
Hey,
he's okay.
How you doing? Yeah.
And then you get cheers.
Yeah. Hey, I worked for Norm Peterson for like a number of seasons, at least 7 seasons, I believe it was. So hey, George Wendt got a paycheck out of it. That's not bad. Probably not what was intended by evolution, but it worked.
And that's how you get groups and parties.
Well, I mean, I think that's a very interesting way to form up a group rather than just saying we all meet at the tavern. It's like, dude, we've been meeting at the tavern for years. We all come here. We've all been coming here for years.
I like that, yeah.
It does have a much more natural ring to it. So, I mean, that's a nice... it's a nice spin on an authentic tale,
It's like
the standard.
Once upon a time, there was a wizard, a fighter, a rogue, and a cleric. And they all sat in the bar doing nothing for all time, and they thought they would never... Then one day...
They sat in the bar for like 5 years. They came in there like 4 nights a week sort of thing. And, I mean, they got to know each other and talking about stuff that they wanted to do, but they never really did anything until the old man came in with blood on his lips and a map in his hand. Does that not intrigue you for a decent story? You're all friends, so that explains how you all know each other. You've been drinking together for years.
And then the drinking buddies decided to go on an adventure. But they all had to ask their wives first for permission. But their wives said it was cool because they wanted to get them out of the house for a little while.
And at least they weren't getting drunk at the bar again. So, I mean, like, it wasn't going to hurt their bar tab, and if they wind up getting some money in the small dungeon where they go into, then, hey, that's, like a better, time spent, than just tossing coins away at the bar. And thus their wives encouraged them to go on more adventures because it was cheaper than going to the bar. And that, I think, is an excellent short story.
It is a good story. On that note, can I...
Wait, can the wives effectively be like a secondary party group where they all get together to help try and make sure that the husbands stay out of trouble sort of thing?
Yeah, I was
like a Fred and, like a Wilma sort of balance?
I was kind of thinking it was crossing the back of my mind that it was a little bit sexist that all the men are out doing the fun stuff and the women have to stay home and, I guess take care of the house or whatever.
Hey! there's still a random encounter table for inside the city. If they're going around like all the wives together going shopping, all of a sudden they encounter a burglar. Well, my golly, that's a combat encounter if I ever see one.
Well, maybe the party could be mixed gender though too. I mean, it's not like just men go to the bar anymore. Not
especially in the D&D world
sort of
thing.
That.
I mean, like you could be drinking like with the lizard man, barbarian for like 4 years. You don't even realize he's a she until the adventuring thing comes up.
Yeah, that's one way to do it.
Say, so the females are big in the species. I completely misread that. I am sorry about that, and sorry about all those off-color jokes I've been making for the last half-decade. I apologize for everything. And thus the party grew a little bit as one.
They did. They bonded.
They bonded over the wizard's off-color jokes and incredibly blushed cheeks when he realized exactly what he'd been doing and saying in front of a lady for years.
I like that too, though. Like a party that can be like people that can spend their entire lives together and yet not even know. You could have a married couple in that group too. It'd be interesting if they can
both go to the bar.
They're spending their entire lives together and they just somehow miss key aspects of each other's personality.
Okay. So how about this?
Never
how about this
put
for the
into
group,
the
though?
situation. Okay, go ahead.
You've got the bartender, you've got the husband-wife combo, and one of their other friends that always comes to the bar, and those are the people that wind up going on the adventure.
Okay, yeah. That's good.
That way, the bartender's not going to let the other three go away. They are providing like 10% of his income.
Yeah.
So he's actually the cleric. He's the one that follows them and makes sure they're all alive because. Dang it, he's going to get the money that they get for their share of the treasure eventually off of at the bottom of every flagon of ale. How's that sound for you?
Sure, yeah, why not? Although I think...
And you can do that in 5th edition now. That's the nice thing is, my history is I'm a bartender.
With the background system?
I don't actually own the bar, I just tend the darn thing.
Okay.
I have good use of a sap sort of thing, because that's how I clock the tankards as I pop a fresh keg sort of thing.
Once again, going back to your divergent skills, your different skills apply to different areas.
It's not that hard, you got to use a nice, good upper body strength sort of thing. So you get me a few rocks, I can huck them pretty good. There you go.
Speaking of going on grand adventures, though, GotaCon is coming up.
Yes.
I wanted to mention this. Just so, if you're listening to this and thinking about going to GotaCon... Remember
it. Make sure because it's coming up now in, February?
Yeah, it's in February. I can't remember what... We'll
so it's technically 2 months away. Not even 2 months away now, because we're at the end of the year.
Yeah, we'll give more details, I think, as we come... But I just want... tickets do sell out pretty fast. And we mentioned the Empress already in this podcast.
It's on the other side of the Empress thing. It's the newer end.
Same building, but if you want to...
They're connected.
Well, sort of... I guess, yeah.
Yeah,
I guess they're not the same building. Yeah,
they're considered separate buildings, but there's a really nice big corridor from one to the other.
Yeah. And I'm going to be running some D&D events.
Yeah.
I've called my D&D event Storm Road. So if you're going to be in Victoria on...
So am I not allowed to play because of potential conflict of interest?
You can play. You can sign up.
Okay.
But I'm not going to give you special treatment if you're asking that. Although if you show up and if there's no seats, I'll give you a seat. But other than that, no special treatment.
Okay.
And if your character needs 5 hit points at the most, but other than that, no special.
No. I'm a dice ball as they may sort of guy. I mean, I remember last year I had to recycle the Dwarven Warrior a second time because the first one got eaten and died.
But I'm running a campaign. I'm calling it Storm Roads. That's the name of it. But I won't give out too much more detail because it's going to be
It's
exciting,
the road literally made out of a storm.
The Storm Roads are roads through a storm.
Okay.
Or a stormy land. I don't know. I like two kind of words. That. Anyways, it's going to be cool. It's going to be awesome.
It's not like Ravenloft has lofts for ravens everywhere. I mean, sometimes it's just a name, dude.
Yeah.
The Dragonlance setting doesn't always have Dragonlances. They're actually very infrequently encountered.
So are you? You're going to be there. You're going to go, right?
I am going to go.
Yes. Okay. Cool.
I'll be there and be square.
Last year I hung out in the kind of what do you call them? The panels, the discussion halls.
I didn't get a chance to see any of that stuff. I spent a lot of time learning board games, which I thoroughly enjoyed. It was a great time spent with my brothers that way.
Yeah, that's good too. But this year I'm not doing, well, I'm probably not going to spend any time watching the panels because I found out last year that Jules, who we've mentioned before on the podcast, he records them, he does his own podcast and records those as their own episodes, so I'm just going to listen to them after the fact. And
I may want to go in there
time.
just to see stuff and enjoy it, because there's something to be said about being there as it's going on.
That's true. And I hope lots of people go, because sometimes those panels, especially at GotaCon, because it's a small city, and sometimes those panels are a little bit sparsely attended.
I would have liked to have attended more, but it's like, this game ran late, or I'm still playing this, or I got to get back home. My daughter's getting tired, and I took her with me that year, so...
Mm-hmm. But yeah,
it's in free again this year, so I think I might take her at least for a little bit.
Yeah. But this year I'm doing RPGs, and that's what I'm focusing on. Is I'm going to play games, and I'm going to run. Basically, I'm going to run games. I don't think I'm going to play in anyone else's. I left myself a little bit of time, so if I find something that I can fit in, but other than
those sweet auctions. Oh man, I love those things.
Yeah.
I love them more than most people should, and I should maybe worry a little bit about that, but I don't. I don't worry at all.
So buy your tickets, GotaCon. Sign up for my RPG event, everybody.
Sign up for a RPG event.
Or any.
You can't make Josh's stuff, participate. Be a person. Don't just be a looky-loo.
Now,
but don't bid on anything, because I don't want you competing against me. Only bid on the sucky stuff. I want the cool stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So also at this point in the podcast, if I can still speak, we give out our email address, thesimulationist@gmail.com.
That's all one word.
And we have a YouTube page and a Facebook page, and you just type in The Simulationist into your search engine. You find us on all those spaces, and type in little comments for us, little feedback. Tell us, what you hated about the show, or what you loved about the show, or how you disagreed, whether...
if I will admit, I have not read every Conan story. I'm working my way through it, but I only got so many hours a day, and until they come up with a pill that completely he eliminates the need for sleep so you don't go insane, I will require several hours of sleep every night. I'm not getting as many as I probably should, but darn it, I am trying to absorb more culture and more information. And, that's, I'm having fun with my daughter as well. I got to be a good father, got to be a good husband, sort of thing, and that takes up time too. So I can only do so much. So if I've missed like some stories whereby Conan actually has like an adventuring party with him, and I know the movies effectively did have that sort of thing. There's the three-person party as they were stealing the jewel from the temple of the snake cult. Then you know what? Prove me wrong. Let me know. Maybe I should skip ahead in where I'm reading and make sure that one story takes priority over another.
Indeed. Also, if you enjoy podcasts like this one, there's always RPGpodcast.com, which we're, and there's also stuff like Critical Hit and Major Spoilers, and what else? Also, listen to, while I'm thinking about it, listen to NPC Cast. That's NPC Cast. It's another good podcast you can listen to. And also No Direction. That's KNOW. No, like as the old.
I know
the old skill from D&D. No Direction is another good D&D podcast. And probably Fear the Boot doesn't need too much help from us, but I suppose they're another one I know.
So does that mean I shouldn't mention Kevin Smith's Modcast?
You can mention that also too.
I think it's not really gaming related or anything. It's just really fun. Kevin Smith brings a lot of his joyful, boyish personality into the whole thing.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's not necessarily D&D, but they actually, in one episode, they did play a little bit of D&D. They called it Crimson Mages of something. But yeah.
I just like the stories he has to tell and the fun things like that. I believe Kevin Smith has some very good, insightful perspectives that you might not expect from a stoner. So, plus, it's Silent Bob speaking a lot. Take value in that. Come on.
And yeah, with all of that, also in addition to going and checking out that's a big list of homework for you guys, but I know you can do it.
Just give it a look, see what catches your interest. If you like it, stick around. If you don't like it, keep browsing.
But the other thing we want you to do is let your friends know that we are out here waiting for them. Our words are just hanging in the internet, ready to be downloaded into their brains.
The rest of your party should know about what we have to say.
That's true. If you have very good friends, tell us. If you have not so good friends, or
bond a little
them.
bit closer. Say, hey, I think this would be good for you. You know.
Yeah, you could bond over an episode of the Simulationist podcast.
Even if you don't like us, if you both don't like us in the same way, that'll still bring you closer together as friends. Think about it. Think about it.
I think, did we cover everything? That sort of went a little bit long with the stuff at the end, but I guess that's okay. Do we have final thoughts on grouping?
No man is an island.
Okay.
And as such, I don't believe any story should be with just the one person. There should always be a confidant, like someone else. Even if it's like a Ron to your Harry Potter sort of thing, it should be someone you can trust. Otherwise, you're just playing like this horrible, lonely, paranoid game. And I mean, like
Minecraft.
To be fair, Minecraft is a good mental exercise. You're playing against yourself as another person. You're trying to keep those stupid villagers alive, and that's like man versus nature going on right there.
Mm-hmm.
Man versus natural selection, maybe. And then it prepares you for the whole, multiplayer end of things. You find your nice, like you've got the Rock Block server, and you got to learn to play nice.
Yes.
But sometimes it is nice to do a little work by yourself. Do it alone. But you don't always have to be alone. Like there are plenty of people that play Dwarf Fortress, technically a single-person game, but they'll put up oh, this happened, and they'll write it like a journal story, and people will read, people will enjoy it, people will become interested.
Mm-hmm.
What you do alone need not stay alone. You can turn it into something else that others can enjoy.
Okay. Yeah.
Which I think maybe epitomizes our podcast very well. I mean, if no one was to listen to this, I'd still be fine with it. I enjoy the conversations I have with you, Josh. But if people were to listen and take joy in that, well, that's even better.
Yeah, well, we have a few. Yeah, we have. Thank you for those who are listening.
That's like the whipped cream on top of a cake. The cake's still good without the whipped cream.
Cool.
But the whipped cream makes it extra nice. So yes, thank you. I think that's been about everything this week.
That's been a podcast.
We will see you in 7 days.
Yeah, thanks for listening. I've been Josh Trelevin.
I've been Ryan Kirkby.
That's been Money.